Hello, lovely learners. Welcome back to ALifeLearned. So, it's been a very interesting few weeks for me. I have a lot to share. I don't even know where to start, but I'm sure, as you can tell by the title, it's been eventful. First things first, the tooth removal was not fun. I now have a fake tooth. This one is fake. But in this lighting, you can't tell. Yes. Or at least mostly. In person, though, it's very obvious to me, and so it bugs me. But anyways, dealing with that, going to be getting the implant as of November 28th, the anchor. So, we'll go from there. But in the meantime, I'd been planning for a very long time to hand out flyers regarding my abuser, because to me it felt like the one thing I could do just as an individual to take responsibility for the knowledge I do have about how dangerous he is, and the one thing I could do to extend that knowledge and try to reduce his ability to harm other people, because if there's one thing I ever wanted out of having gone through the whole court process and all of the bullshit, it was reducing his ability to harm other people. And the courts really felt quite pitiful in terms of their ability to do that. I mean, his earliest release date is next April. So, absurd, I know, considering it's a 5-year sentence, but that's the reality of it. So I felt like the public deserved to know. And in Canada, they have very specific privacy laws that prevent police from informing the neighborhood about local sex offenders. In the US, I believe it's very different, quite the opposite, in the sense that they basically force them to go to each neighbor and knock on the door and tell them they're a sex offender, or at least that's what I heard, that's hearsay. But more out of certainty, I'm absolutely positive that in Canada it is quite the opposite, where they believe that they deserve their own privacy. And to some degree, I understand, because I don't believe in attacking a person, regardless of what they've done. If they've served their time and they're not continuing to violate the law, you don't have a right to harass them. You just don't. And so, that made me further happy that I did hand out this flyer, because there was no other way for the neighborhoods to know that he owned that property other than for someone who knew to tell them. But I was not looking for him to be harassed. I do not want people to attack him. I do not want them to harm him or his property in any way. I just want them to have information I feel they should rightfully have, that their children are not as safe as they might otherwise assume playing in the park that is right across from his house, or attending the school that is right around the corner from his house. Now, his preference range seems to have moved into more teens, although his earlier offense was to a 6-year-old, but you never know. It seems to be more about opportunity for him than anything. So it just seemed like the one way I could take responsibility for what I knew and rightfully help reduce the danger to other people as much as possible. And it caught me off guard in terms of it exploding. I didn't quite expect it, per se, but well, no, I didn't expect it. I might have expected, so I put my, to clarify, I put my court video link at the bottom of these flyers, because it's very relevant to understanding the type of person he is and how much he fucked with the system. And so my views on that video have obviously gone up. Cool. My subscribers haven't, so, I wasn't expecting much from that. But what did happen was someone caught me off guard and took a picture of the flyer I made and then put it, I think, on Facebook? I think it was just Facebook. But the point is, it's on the internet now and being spread around and has left London and is being spread to people outside of London. And actually, before it left London, it somehow managed to reach the eyes of a CTV reporter. which, again, not something I really expected at all. And so she contacted me through my Facebook page and has asked if I would like to do an interview discussing my abuse and going through the court case and the whole experience, and sort of trying to make a little news series to discuss the concept of victims and going through the court process, and a way to offer further support to anyone going through it right now or who's considering it, etc. And so I'm obviously elated. I'm just like, I can reach out to local people this way. I can actually access, like, make change within my direct environment, which is the main thing that I try to promote in ALifeLearned. Be the change you want to see, and the way you do that is doing it in your direct environment first. That's what's most important. If you are the change in the world around you, like directly around you, that's how it spreads. And so this is possibly an opportunity to be some kind of local support, or voice of support that, you know, people can get out of those situations. And that's just really exciting to me because now I can start to try and be active in my local community and helping people right here in London, and that's just so exciting to be honest. Although I am nervous as hell. My therapist really doesn't like the idea. She thinks it's not a good idea for me. I don't entirely understand why, but she seems to think that it could leave like a scar in my history, so to speak, that if people meet me in the future, they'll only know me as Becca, the abuse victim, instead of, for any other thing that I might have skills in or what have you. And I can understand what she means to some degree, but the way I just keep seeing it is I mostly, like, when it comes to negative judgments that are often unfounded, I don't care what people are thinking when they're thinking stuff like that. People's opinions do matter to me in the sense that I care about people and I want to help people, but if you're going to negatively judge me, keep it to yourself, because that's your opinion. That's on you, not me. It doesn't mean that you're right. It doesn't mean that I'm just an abuse victim because that's what someone's perception is. It means that they're a very limited-minded person and can't see beyond that. I mean, it's really not hard to see beyond that when you just talk to someone. So I basically am assuming that anyone who is of value that I would want in my life, that I would want to associate with, that I would want to work with, etc., would look past it, and it wouldn't be that much of an issue. So that's why I'm not worried to the regard of why my therapist is. But I'm pretty scared still because it means being on the news, and that can be a bit nerve-wracking just to consider at all. And, I've got social anxiety. Like, I'm sweating just trying to record this video, right? So, like, sitting in an interview with a reporter is hard. Also, she's coming into my space to do it. Like, she's going to be in my living room. And I have a lot of anxiety about my personal environment and the cleanliness of it and such. So, lots and lots of anxiety around this. But I personally think it's really worth it for the possible opportunity to help other people and reach out to people in my local community. So to that regard, I'm really excited. Though, again, it was a very unexpected result of handing out these flyers. So, yay, I guess. But either way, I just feel like I definitely did the right thing either way. Either way, I keep saying that. I guess I am honestly feeling, what's the right word? Insecure or uncertain about it. Because it did upset people more than I expected. I had explicitly stated on the flyer that he wasn't released yet. He just owned the property, and if they didn't like that, they should express their concerns to the local police station. But a lot of people didn't read to the bottom, so they started really freaking out about the fact, like, oh my god, is he released now? So I have guilt over that. And I did come to learn that there has apparently been someone who's moved into his house and is renting the place again. So I have guilt over any safety issues that might go to them, but I didn't know they were there until I was 2/3 the way through the flyer handing out, and didn't really think to stop. So, whoops, basically. Hopefully, now that they know that he's the owner of the house, they won't choose to live there that much longer. But I had actually delayed handing out these flyers until now. I did it specifically the weekend before Halloween because I thought parents had a right to know just before their kids are going around to strangers' houses, but I wanted to do it like in March, immediately after he had been arrested, though I came to learn that there was a tenant there, and she asked me, please don't, I'm afraid of the risk to my children and myself, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense, so of course I won't, I'll wait until you move out, just let me know. And she did, and that was in September, and I couldn't do it right away just because I was dealing with dog training with my dog and mental health issues, etc. It took a lot of working myself up to it to be able to do it, but got myself to do it before the weekend of Halloween, and yeah, now I feel like I've taken another step in my healing, which is really nice because, again, I feel like I filled what obligation I put on myself, honestly. It wasn't a real obligation, but I felt I needed to take responsibility for the information I had and share it with people who had a right to it for the sake of their safety, and I feel I fulfilled that. And that's really relieving. It allows me to further move away from the issue itself and feel like I'm done with it and I can move on from it. So, I mean, doing this interview sort of brings it back up a little, honestly. But it's allowing me to start furthering my activism in trying to help other victims. So that's awesome, and it maybe might start getting my life moving a little bit more, which would be nice because it feels a little dead at the moment. But that aside, yeah, I did that. I'm still a little bit in shock about the whole experience because I didn't talk to a lot of people. I mostly just put them in people's mailboxes, but it was very nerve-wracking to do, and exceptionally further nerve-wracking to learn that there was a tenant in his house. So lots of nerves around it, but yay, accomplishments, I guess. And in conclusion, I just wanted to say that, no victim is obligated to do something like this. You're not responsible to informing people about your abuser, so please don't take this video as saying something like that, because that's not what I'm saying at all. We all have our personal limitations and you need to respect them. This is just what I felt I needed because I felt responsible in this way. So this is how I relieved that responsibility, and this is how I'm moving forward with my healing. And so, just definitely reflect on what might help you heal and try to keep vengeance and revenge out of it, because that's not healthy. And that, again, was definitely not the point of me handing these flyers out. It wasn't really about him at all. I mean, the flyer was about him, but it was very much about other people and about them not being nearly as victimized as I was, not being as clueless to his charismatic manipulation, because he just is very intelligent and capable of making people think he's the nicest person ever. So yeah, just felt people had a right to that information, but don't judge yourself based on me. Do what's right for you. And if you have any experience with something related to this, having handed out flyers, or maybe if you want to make mention about any dental issues you've had, because I was talking about that in the beginning, please feel free to share that in the comments below. Or if you'd like any support just regarding having been a victim of abuse or going through the court system at all and how absolutely ridiculous it can be, please do feel free to comment or personally message me. You guys are always welcome to message at any time if you'd like some support. I can get a little bit distracted with my mental health at times, and so I'm not immediately responsive always, but I do always make a point of responding, and am happy to try and offer what little support I might be able to through the experiences I've had and what little I feel like I've learned. But in the meantime, I gonna be trekking on. That interview is tomorrow, so I guess I'll let you guys know on Sunday how it went. Kind of really scared, but excited at the same time. So yay for positive things, I guess. Whew. Wish me luck. Hopefully this isn't as bad an idea as my therapist thought. And as always, please do join me again, I guess next week or this weekend, where I try again to share a little something I've learned or experienced in life.